It says it's live. Am I live? I'm also going to be eating candy. I hope that's not going to be too annoying. I end up going to a Midwest staple known as Farm and Fleet, and they have these delicious Willy Wallaby, or maybe it's Wiley Wallaby, Outback beans, which are, have you ever had Good and Plenty's? They're Good and Plenty's. These are the red version, so they swap out the black licorice for red licorice. So, yeah. Hey everybody! All right, let's see what we got. We got John. We got RCCNC. We got some Neil action. We got some Gaston. Hey Dan. So Dan Dittenbenner, who just joined us on chat, he lives like 5 minutes from me. I might have built a couple of his printers, but now he's building his own. We got John. Yeah, licorice beans. But these are red licorice beans instead of black licorice beans, because black licorice beans are gross. Yeah, sure. There's a few hands that like this channel. Oh, it's Christopher Tilley. And BB3D, Daniel Arbuckle. I do have a cold head. So the weather's finally dropped to mid 40s, maybe upper 40s here in the Midwest, and it's just depressing. So my bald head gets chilly at night. Heck yeah, I'm trying to get Joseph to come to the event. I was chatting with him last night, and he's like, probably not. Hey, what's up, Chris Riley? So wedding season, Mr. Chris, is starting to wrap up. I have 2 weddings this weekend, a wedding next weekend, and then I'm off until December. Then I'm off again until January for 1 more, and then I have 3 months off. Oh, Dan, it snowed this morning? You are my neighbor, technically, so I mean, if it snowed, it must have snowed. It's the Chris Amigos. We have I guess the community catch-up Chris group has followed along over here. That was actually kind of fun. At around 2 a.m. Was I awake at 2 a.m.? Yeah, I was up at 2 a.m. I was chatting with Joseph, bugging him about figuring out when this SL1, and if there's a chat about it and who I can talk to learn stuff. Versus Brian Snowed in Minnesota. How is the football in Minnesota? Y'all got that really good quarterback. Unpacking Apple Watch 4. Hey, Gaston, when's the Apple Watch tech coming to your by the way, Gaston in the group chat, he makes this Apple program called Octopod. As you can see, that's my Mark III right there. Yeah, I did buy an SL1. I had no choice. Let's talk about printing. So yeah, I didn't really have a topic, and I was thinking about maybe putting together. I have a Mark 2.5 that I bought. Let's see here. I think I bought it 4 months ago, and it's sitting in the box right underneath this table because I just redid all of this again. So now it's just a big printer wall. And let's see here. Chris Riley, I am in Rockford, Illinois. So I am in the upper Midwest right there. If there was Illinois, and there's Chicago over here, I'm right here. Yeah, I was thinking about doing it, but then I realized I have parts coming for it tomorrow. So I probably shouldn't start building it today without the parts I need for it tomorrow. So, but I will talk about a couple of things. One is I have all these Halloween themed prints from the crazy Prusa Galaxy Black. You know, in case you're thinking it was some crazy technology of how awesome that filament prints. It is some awesome filament. I also picked up some matte forge gray filament. I've been adding a lot of crazy filament to the mix, and this is the matte forge matte gray. Super pretty material. And then I added a bunch. So I finally printed for the first time ever. I've had 2 boxes of this, and this is Sando's 3 Wise Skulls print. And I finally printed that in the Vertigo Galaxy. I've never printed it before, and it's amazing. Instead of that silver shiny sparkle, man, that thing is gold. In the right light, it is super gold, and that is amazing. So I even went out and I had to print more. So let me move some more of that stuff. I have so many things. I printed this skull. Let me bring it in close. I printed this skull in crappy filament. It was probably Hatchbox on my Monoprice Maker Select. When I first got a print, I really wanted to print it because, like, oh man, there's a skull. The head opens up. It's got things. So the skull actually opens up, and inside's the brains. Super cool brains, which wasn't in Filamentum filament. Unfortunately, I didn't have any Filamentum pink. I just had the 3D Solutech pink, and the brain comes out. It's pretty dope. I think this is a really cool model. But I've just been, I went through a rut of just testing things. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to print fun things. And Halloween, this is why I really like this roundtable chat. Halloween's up here. It's around the corner. It's like the 16th today. It is the 15th today. So we are 15 days away from Halloween. No, 31st. We're 16 days away from Halloween. This episode is sponsored by Crappy Brand Filament. So I just went crazy. I just went ridiculously crazy and started printing all of the Halloween stuff. So, zombie hands for my mini factory, Sando's 3 Wise Skulls. Even busted out. This is done on the Palette Plus. It's a little crazy 2-color skull. I forget what this thing's called. It's a super cool model. And then, as you can see right here, it's finally not hiding over there. The one Creality printer I own came out. If you have enough printers, you still have time to print out the Iron Man suit. So I printed this gigantic pumpkin. I used a 1mm nozzle on this crazy thing with the worst filament ever. This is Mad Maker's filament, and it was $9.99 for a 750 gram roll. It is some horrible filament. Unfortunately, they sent me the wrong color. I bought 6 rolls at that price. I was like, okay, I'm going to stock up. And it was $10 a roll. I was like, it can't be that bad. All of the filament's brittle. It just snaps. And some of it snaps sometimes, and then it'll be like okay for a little bit, and then it'll just start snapping. So I'll be printing, and all of a sudden you'll just hear snap, and it's not printing anymore. Not Maker Geeks. I've learned my lesson by watching the internet, and the internet says don't ever do that. But what I have found that it works for, and you can't really see it on camera, unfortunately, you can kind of see it. The color changes. I mean, it goes from dark to light to dark. The color changes constantly. In this, I printed this also in the 1mm nozzle, and it stripes from lighter red to darker red to lighter red as you're printing it. It is god awful filament. So now it's just sitting on the Creality there. Yeah, I tried drying it. This just came fresh. They came in Ziploc bags with a desiccant pack in it, but the color isn't consistent through the roll, and it's brittle, then not brittle, then brittle, then not brittle. Yeah, it also does. It isn't really very. It isn't super. It's my twin. It isn't super. In good, it doesn't have good tolerances. I was measuring stuff and it was all over. That's why I threw it on the 1mm nozzle. So I threw a 1mm nozzle on there. Was it a Ziploc brand bag? Hold on, I have some right here. I set up the basement. I can get anywhere. Look at all this filament back here. I can just grab stuff and show people things. So they come on printed spools. I guess it's not Ziploc. So these were just not. They didn't take any of the air out of the Mylar bag or whatever this thing is. There's like what looks to be a dead bug inside of this one. I don't even want to open it. But yeah, they sent me the wrong color. I emailed them immediately. Like I got the box in and I emailed immediately. 3 weeks later, I've never had an email back. So I still have one wrong color and it's all very inconsistent. So my review of Mad Makers is if you want to spend $10, you're going to get some filament for $10. I'm back. But yeah, so I just started printing things and I'm like loving these crazy new I've never got to play in a long time. Like I've printed big Groot in wood. I went crazy. I printed, I think 7 Groots and I made a big Groot. That bug was 50 grams of your spool. It was a pretty small bug. Yeah, I just kind of went print happy versus printing tests. And I kind of use these as tests. Like I printed this hand on a frame mounted spool holder and it's got a lot of, it's hard to tell because matte filament, but the extrusions are pretty uneven. And then I printed the bigger one with the reverse Bowden and it's just so much smoother and you can't really tell on camera, but it was super cool. It was a good time just printing for fun because I kind of get lost and I print for no fun. By the way, I will warn you for Halloween prints. This thing is a torture device. I mean, this is the geared pumpkin. Holy crap. I threw this thing on the printer. I thought it was amazing. And it is like this thing spins. This thing is great. I love the tactile feel, but as I'm doing this, it's stabbing me and it's destroying the texture on my fingers. It's super cool, but someone needs to come in there and go aggressive with the fillet and just soften up these curves. Man, it's getting, we got 40 viewers in here and I'm just rambling about filament. But this is also a new filament I tried. So for the longest time, I've had a roll of orange. This is the Atomic Filaments Orange. Hey, no problem about demystifying printing with small layers and small nozzles. That's the fingerprint eraser. This is the finger eraser. There's no finger left. So I guess you're right. I mean, yeah, this is that Atomic Orange. And so they printed, as you can tell, there's a huge difference between Make Shaper Orange, but this is their UV orange. So I thought it was going to be a bright, but it's more kind of like a cream orange. So I call this Orange Dreamsicle. Snow Lab filament. I've heard of it. I printed 6 of these things, I think. These Grumpy Pumpkins. Not including the giant one. But that is very different colors. Focus. Not on me. 2 very different oranges. But this is supposedly the UV orange. They maybe it UV glows. It could. Actually, your fingers. The Atomic Orange is actually made by Atomic Filament. So it's a USA manufacturer. They just use NatureWorks resins. So USA made resins. The filament's really nice. 0.02 millimeter plus minus. So it's really good tolerance filament. It's good stuff. Right on the mark. Yep. This Mark III right here has the UV glow green PETG, and it UV glows. It's super cool. Ooh, speaking of, so filament, our man from UFO Box Alien 3D is here. And again, Halloween. We're going to keep on the Halloween theme. We've all seen the standard Alien box, their UFO box. This thing is a really nice, super well-designed box. Inside here is like 4 or 5 filaments. I have not used this yet. I apologize. Because I've just been testing things. And I want to test this, the Ziltech wood. I hear good things on the Ziltech wood. Yeah, the Atomic. Dave, you should like the Atomic guys. You sell their filament. But for Halloween, the man over there from Alien 3D stepped up the box game with the horror themed, well, I guess Halloween themed box. That is a super nice box. Super fun. Let's see if I can find that luminous orange. Oh, wow. Holy cow. Yeah, that is Filamentum luminous orange. It looks on camera to be a red. It is not a red. It is a neon bright orange with a hint of red in it. So, but yeah, the theme was awesome. They have a pumpkin that they got that looks like Jack Skellington. So, there's even this, because I don't know if you guys know, a little bit different. So we got Dave from Printed Solid who does the maker box. They just do, it just samples. So if you need just samples and you just want to play with samples, maker box. If you want to do a project every month, this is like a filament sample box plus project speaker that does things when you push buttons. I think it's this button. Yeah, that's pretty dope. So that would go inside the Jack Skellington pumpkin. It's all there. If you remember, you get this little sheet of paper and it's got a little secret website you go to with your project on it. Don't press the button. I just did. I pressed it, but then I turned it off immediately. Oh, actually, so someone, Nelson, just mentioned if I could do an MK2S box. So I just updated the Mark III Mega upgrade blog on prusacommunity.com because I finally tested a few new things and I added a couple things. So JLTX, who makes the Skelestruder, he made an indirect filament sensor that uses the laser sensor with 100% accuracy. So if you have issues with the Mark III with a filament sensor, he made a modification. It uses a ball bearing, an actual round. I actually have bearings somewhere right here on this desk. It's just a mess right now, but it uses the bearing, and as the bearing rotates with the filament, it reads that, and it's like a simple G code or a simple firmware change, and you now have 100% success, which Prusa is testing. They have a couple of machines running with that mod. I added that, and I also tested, and it's really dirty because I haven't cleaned up all the nylon out of it, but I printed some CF nylon. This is the Y-axis belt tensioner. So that's been added on there. So, all right. Hey, look at that. David is repping UFO box. This is why the community is awesome. Let's see here. Are you talking about the, let's see, I'm trying to go through the chat real quick, and it's over here. I need to figure out how to put a monitor here or in the table. Will it work for the Mark IIs 2.5S? No, it will not. But I will make a sheet for that because I'll switch to that. I also have some more new filament, and I printed all the parts already for my Mark 2.5 upgrade that's going on Pinky over here. So this pink printer here that's in the 3X Tech UV reactive sparkle pink filament. They made a mistake. They made a mistake batch of PETG, and it turned out kind of opaque, almost like a creamy pink. And that's because they accidentally mixed ASA glitter with PETG. So it came up with this really creamy, normally PETG's got some flex. This is almost like printing carbon fiber PETG. It's extremely resilient to bending. There's a term for it, rigid. I haven't tried it with 3.4.1. Someone just asked, Gordon asked if the, stiff is a good word for it. I'm going to go with rigid, though. Rigid is less manly sounding. I don't know. Jetto Black asked if I've had any issues with that, and I haven't with the JLTX indirect filament sensor, and I have not upgraded my firmware on that one. But I will check. No one's really posted on it on the forums. I'm not part of the Discord, so I think more people there would have info. But yeah, let me pull out that filament. Huzzah! A box of things. So this is that mistake pink, and it is. Oh, don't focus on my face. Focus on the thing. It'll eventually get there when it doesn't see my eyes. Let me hide my face more. No, doesn't want to focus. So this stuff is. Let me go this way. Hey, we got more people. So this is that mistake PTG. It's actually a mixture of ASA and PTG, so it's extremely rigid. It's not brittle, but it's definitely rigid, and it is awesome. It's also UV reactive, so if I put a UV light on this, it glows bright pink. But I do have some mods. So this is actually the Zerabo X-axis. I have a weird fan duct that I've never tried before. This is the JLTX motor mounts. And I'm replacing the Y-axis with these nylon CF printed braces. So instead of these ugly things on the Y-axis on your Mark 2.5, you have these big bulky things. No non-sleeping British people. Yeah, it is bubblegum pink. It is straight up the coolest color. So this is that CF nylon. This is that 3DX Tech CF nylon. And it prints pretty gloriously. I mean, it has a super matte texture. And in comparison, this is CF PLA. And it has a much more lustery feel. And I'll explain why it has a lustery feel in a little bit. This, once it focuses, this is Matter Hackers CF PETG, and it also has a luster. But as I bring this in, you'll see it doesn't have a luster to it. It's definitely just matte. And the reason being is this actually has long chain, high modulus carbon fiber. And that is like the most expensive stuff ever. The benefit being is when you look under a microscope, you'll actually see the fibers kind of intertwining with the material and each layer. When you zoom in on the Matter Hacker stuff, it's just pulp. I mean, they just use ground or milled CF, which doesn't really do anything besides make it look cool. But this does not bend. There's this stuff is ridiculously strong. This nylon, I have a test. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this live for everybody. We have 51 viewers. Someone's leaving in 30 minutes. I went out to get out some goggles. Safety first, kids. Boy, I look really dumb in goggles and a beanie, and 3DX Tech makes some amazing filament. But let me grab, because I printed also an entire printer in 3DX Tech CF nylon. So like here is the extruder, and this little guy. This is the back carriage piece. So there's not a lot of meat on there, but it doesn't crack. So let me put it up to microphone. I'm going to flex it here. It just bends. There's no cracking sound. And that's why I really like this stuff. You can go crazy on it and it won't break. But we're going to try to break this. This is ridiculous. I tried breaking something earlier, and it took everything I had. But I'm going to have some help. I'm going to grab a couple pliers. Oh, yeah. I just moved them over here on the plier shelf. All my extra pliers are normally inside of Darth Vader cup. But yeah, this is crazy. So I'm going to use a little help here. I'm going to grab... let's not use this one because, unfortunately, if I grab here, it's going to break. Probably early there. I really thought I could break that part. Here we go. I don't mind having to reprint this. So I'm going to grab here. I'm going to grab here. I can't break it. Take a look at that. It won't break. That hurt too. It just warped, but it never broke. It never cracked, never made a noise. I just dug. This stuff is insane. But yeah, it prints amazingly well. I print with this has no fan running, and all of the actually, let me show you. That's not it. PTG nylon. So there's a overhang with zero fan. There's no warping on that once it focuses again. Focus on it. But yeah. Yeah, the CF they use in this thing is ridiculous. The nylon is ridiculous. Overall, it is a tremendous filament. I have tried breaking a lot of these parts. I'll just grab them and just start tweaking on it, and nothing. And it prints. I mean, all the prints come out. Let me cover my eyeball. The prints come out perfectly. They're more matte, which I kind of dig. But I mean, even the top layers. Let me see if it'll focus on there. Those top layers are so silky smooth. But yeah, 3DX Tech nylon, the Carbon X nylon. I'm sold on CF nylon. It's not that. It's the camera set to eye focus. So if it sees my eye, it's going to focus on my eye. So I have to block my face. And if I block my face, it'll eventually focus on whatever's in front of me. But it prints gorgeous. So yeah, I've been super busy. Been printing a lot. But yeah, if you're looking for an industrial grade filament, not only is it cheaper than Matter Hackers Nylon X, it's strong as hell. So it prints so good. But yeah, didn't end here, guys. I have more filament I printed. Partsbuilt.com just got in the new form Futura. I need to put googly eyes on my parts. I need to put googly eyes on me when I have those visors on. So they got a bunch of new filament in. They got the I don't know what they call it, but it's just sparkly filament, and they got the red sparkle. I ordered the red and the blue sparkle, and it is sparkly. Stop looking at my eye. Let me turn my head away. See, as soon as my head goes away, it is so pretty. It is super nice. I got better pictures of it. I posted them on Twitter a few times. I posted on Facebook a bunch of times. But it is super nice filament. Yeah, Schrodinky, one of my favorite models to test because it has some interesting curves and lines and stuff. No, closing, because it still looks for your face features. So it looks for eyes, nose, mouth. If I disappear, I'll focus finally on something else. It's weird. The camera's awesome. But it's normally it's closer to me, but because I wanted to show all these prints kind of in a cool, scary pattern, I had to move the camera back. Because normally it's close enough where I can just like shove it right in the camera. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, beard. Use my beard to cover. It's not long enough for that yet. Beard focus. Yeah, it's such good filament. If you want more filamentum style Vertigo filaments, they have a champagne, a green, um, the red, the blue, and these are really nice colors. So uh, your filament selections today, again, are Prusa Mint Galaxy. Let me cover my face and just get really close to the camera. That Prusa Mint Galaxy is just ridiculous. And of course, we've all seen Vertigo Galaxy. It's gorgeous. And Matte Forge, the gray Matte Forge, creepy hand. Eventually, don't look at my face camera. There we go. It'll do it. Just gonna shove it right in its face. So shiny, but not. It's been a crazy filament testing, printing time. I'm gonna go look at the chat. Okay, yeah. So Obsession Archery. What nozzle did I use for the CF nylon? So I've been testing 3 different nozzles. I had the Olsen Ruby, and it printed great, but it's $100. I ended up breaking one of my 2 because it was leaking, and I used a torque wrench, and I set it to less than the torque necessary to torque based on whatever number it told me to do, and it snapped in half. It is designed poorly. Second one worked fine. But as soon as I had a chance, I took it off. I have the Midwest Tungsten. So tungsten.com makes a tungsten alloy nozzle, which is 90. I have it's a crazy number, but it's almost pure tungsten, a little bit of iron, and a little bit of nickel. I think it's like 1.3% iron and something nickel. Had to do no temperature differences, but I printed all of the CF nylon using that tungsten alloy nozzle, and it's gone through 1 whole kilogram, and there's still part of a spool up there. So quite a bit of material has gone through there. Still going like a champ. And then I just picked up, I don't remember the brand, but they are diamondized nozzles. So the nozzles have a nano diamond, almost like the twin clad coating from Micro Swiss, but with nano diamonds. And they're sitting in a little baggie somewhere. Again, I just reorganized this whole basement, so finding it is impossible. That's my next test. They give you a 2-year warranty on the nozzle, and they guarantee a minimum of 3 kilograms of 30% CF grade material before it being deteriorated as the minimum. So minimum, it can handle 3 kilograms. So if you're, and they're only $16. Yeah, I'm skeptical too. But for $16 in the long run, it's a brass nozzle with a coating on it. So if it works, that's awesome. If I get a kilogram of CF something through it, I think it's worth it. Because I know there's hardened steel, but hardened steel don't print pretty. Hardened steel works great, but it don't print as pretty. Man fur focus. You humans in the chat are funny. Let's see here. Yeah, so the Matte Forge, I got it at Spoolin. Someone told me about this, and it looks gorgeous. Let me grab it. Because this just came in today. Matte Forge, matte blue. I'm definitely not qualified, but I'll definitely abuse my stuff until it breaks. Because, you know, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, that's the worst case scenario. And I have enough spare parts, and I know how to get more parts. But this matte blue is friggin' gorgeous. That is a blue. It is so silky, pretty blue. It just blue. Like if I were to get a blue, it's blue. And I can't wait to throw this in. This is, again, printed solid. Dave's right there. You can bug him about it. my Rockford Rep Rap Festival. Uh, we'll definitely talk about that. I will be having a 3D printer meet and greet out here. Titanium. Yeah, I think the issue with coding. So chiral symmetry is asking about codings, and the problem with codings is no matter how good the coding is, eventually it's going to wear out, and it's just a coating. I mean, it's what, maybe a micron, maybe 2 microns thick, or I don't know, but eventually they're going to wear out. And I've destroyed micro Swiss nozzles, and they say they can handle CF, and I ran a roll of actual 3DX Tech CF PETG, and it didn't even take half a roll, and it was shot. And Joel Telling even said the same thing. He shot some like a roll of CF PETG through a micro Swiss nozzle, and it wrecked it pretty quick. Because again, it's just a coating. Eventually, you're going to have the coating, and then there's nothing. So for me, I'd rather find but coatings are great if you're not going to do a ton of it. This is why the market's pretty smart. So you've got things that are coated. So you got micro Swiss, you've got P3D. They do coated nozzles that made in America. You've got these diamondized nozzles and other things. And I think even E3D is trying to come out with a coated nozzle. They're great because they're a lot less expensive. I mean, the Mercedes Benz is the of hardened nozzle technology, because it uses that ruby tip. I don't know how the inside works, because I'm still skeptical on rubies, because the inside is brass, and it will wear too. So I don't know if that's detrimental, but they're very fragile. I already broke one. So, but I'm trying to find that middle ground, and the middle ground got me to tungsten carbide, and Dye's Design is trying to do a tungsten carbide tipped nozzle, and they just posted on their Kickstarter. It was supposed to ship already, the 0.4 millimeter nozzles, and they're having issues. They can't make a 0.4 millimeter nozzle with tungsten carbide. Apparently there's some like burring issues, and they can't polish it and whatever. So they're having that. And I know that Eve, who's a moderator on another Prusa forum, she lives in China or Singapore, and she sells, it says, tungsten carbide nozzle, and there's 0.4 millimeters. And I hear great things. So can you sell the ruby when the ruby dies? It's probably not worth it. Ruby's not that expensive. It's just red sapphire, and it's just, yeah. Yeah, just never crash it into a bed. Yeah, and yeah, David's probably right. It's probably lab grown. And there is a diamond nozzle. Was it Solix, 3D Solix or whatever? They make a diamond nozzle now, and it's 350 pounds. I think I saw on the price. So whatever that is in US dollars, more than 400. Yeah. And then they make a sapphire nozzle as well, but they have a weird port design. It's got like 3 ports. I don't know. It's a hybrid style nozzle. Test tube ruby. Getting a little dark here. But yeah, the hardened materials, or the abrasive materials, are awesome. Like I love these CF materials. They look amazing. The texture is phenomenal. This is the CF PLA. I've been using it to print headphone. These are little headphone holders. They're great. Blue to go along with. But yeah, it's there isn't a perfect nozzle for us makers, and the ruby comes close. But holy cow, $100 a nozzle. I mean, I have some printers back here, 5 behind me. That'd be $500 if I want to equip it, and that's why I made the green one back here, which I lovingly call Toxie for Toxic Avenger. That one is made for only abrasive. So, nozzle schnozzle. But yeah, I don't want a nozzle I can break accidentally. And James is the same way. It's like, and that's why I'm really, really trying to get this. I want to put at least 3 kilograms through Toxie over there. And hardened nozzles are great, the hardened steel nozzles, but man, they print like crap. They just don't. I mean, they print well if you turn up the temps, but there's some issues with ramming the temps up because you can get more heat creep because again you're pushing sometimes 10 15 C higher for the material, and CF filled materials are already thick and gloopy and gross inside when they're heated. So yeah, the tungsten is great, James. I haven't clogged it. I haven't and I haven't stopped using it. I mean, everything's off right now only because I just redid everything. I added another bench and rebuilt. This is like now my editing / video station. So this desk, there'll be another Mark III coming that'll just stay on this desk. So that way I can do videos and stuff with it and show people how to remove hot ends without breaking wires. That's on my list of to-dos because Christmas is coming up, which means, well, during my birthday next month, which is November, as a wedding photographer in the Midwest, I'm basically done. So you'll see a lot more of me in video because I'll have all the time. But David, why not just have one nozzle to do them all? And actually, that was the nice thing about the Ruby. The Ruby printed PLA and PET, normal PETG and normal PLA just fine. I've noticed it the same thing with the tungsten nozzle. It prints, and again, it's just tungsten alloy. It's not carbide. It prints fine for PLA, PETG, just regular. I printed some things in it. One nozzle to them all. And I would be okay if they engraved all that stuff that was on the ring. So the people do get married. It's just that because it's winter, it slows down heavily. The winter weddings just aren't popular. Everyone wants this fall wedding with beautiful backdrops and trees and pray it doesn't rain. Yeah, weather isn't fun. So I get to have a lot of time off. So once November hits, I won't have a wedding until December. And then I just have one in December and then one in January. Then I have nothing until April. Oh, no, I have March. So the bride gets lost in the snow. Yeah, a white dress snow. It's a disaster sometimes. Sometimes I can't find people or myself. Do I have any other filament things I want to talk about that I've been testing? I do have one more. So there was a filament that was added in to my box from partsbuilt.com. And it was this crazy filament. Let me grab the box. "3D four makers." Let me read this. Facilan? Facilan? FACILAN C8. It's some hybrid PLA that supposedly is strong as ABS. And it's supposed to print with no layer lines. That's like the magical thing. It's supposed to print super smooth. Now, one of the things I did notice, it said it said premium feel. And this is not something I've heard of in material before, like premium feel. It does. So here's a little rat I printed with it because, you got to have a little rat. It does feel like not 3D print. It doesn't feel like PLA or ABS or, it doesn't feel like anything I've ever printed before. And when you just take the filament out and you're just touching the filament, it feels extremely smooth. And it prints in this beautiful matte color. And they only make one color. It's just off gray white. And it doesn't make layer lines go away. They're there. It's hard to see because it has this just matte sheen, a very dull matte sheen. But interesting filament. It's $54 for a 750 gram roll. I did not pay for it. I have no idea why it ended up in my box. They threw it in. Again, they didn't know who I am. I just ordered it. But it was in the box like, hey, try this out. But it is not worth $54. So I will save anyone else from testing the Facilian C8, the crazy FC8 material from 3D4 Makers. It's interesting. I will, someone just said, maybe it's good for printing minis. I will try that. I'll maybe, print. Yeah, I do play D&D, and all of my prints are done on a photon. Well, as soon as I found a $500 resin printer, I printed everything in resin. I actually just finished curing a couple of rogues. I'm just printing general people because I'm tired. I've run out of characters my D&D crew hasn't seen yet. But for normal purposes, I just print PLA. Yeah. So Adam Lurker did mention, someone asked, how's the MMU2 doing? My MMU2 Mark III is actually right behind my head. I need to install my rep box up there. But it works it's basically filament based. It is very particular. It doesn't like cheap filament. If you have good filament, it prints. If I threw Prusa in there or Filamentum, I have no issues. I've thrown eSun in there with no issue. What else did I throw in there? I've used some atomic filament. It was fine. It's string a little bit more, but it worked. Do we have a Shane? Shane from Prusa? What up, Shane? You know you want to join me on live. We've missed you. You've been on vacation. Yeah, a photon is a bad idea if you live in an unventilated apartment. But resin is just, I print 5 minis at a time. It takes 4 hours for a 28 millimeter mini. And, since it's a DLP, I get 4 of them in 4.5 hours. I clean them off, throw them in the UV tank, and, done. And I'll be printing more as I'm cleaning them. So joins the convo. Where are those damn... I'm glad he said tempered sheets, not the textured sheets. So we don't have to actually tell him where the tempered sheets are. They'll be here soon. Tempered sheets. I think that's all the filament exploring I've done. I printed so many filaments. I did have one more thing that had to do with filament. I finally made a maker coin, and I made it into a torture test. So I started this 3D scanner. I don't have a 3D scanner, but Dan Ditbender, who's on here, him and I want to get one. So I made a maker coin. This is the first iteration. So I made something that can spin in I can print it in multi-colors. And it's a tolerance test. So it's a 0.2 millimeter gap. It wobbled a lot. Actually, this was 0.3 in the first test, so it wobbled a lot. It was very simple. It was, it worked. It was proof of concept. Then I added a W for Wumbo, or an M for Mini. And again, the gap was too big. It rattles a lot. Wasn't really a torture test. I mean, this isn't a very hard print. The only thing that was difficult is, maybe you'll over extrude and, this thing doesn't spin. And then I was like, I'm going back to square one. And since I'm a Fusion 360 moron, I printed one that was way too big. I printed it, walked away, and I came back home. And yeah, I was like, nope. You do, Shane, come here anytime. You're the sexiest man alive and the best chat person. And you make me happy. So I added some things. I added an overhang test. So this wasn't a really sharp angle, but underneath was a circular overhang. Added this 20 millimeter. Well, that's more than 20 millimeter. I added that bridge and text, but it was too big. This is not a maker coin. So I'm back to square one. And I made this, which was a little bit better. Yeah, you know what? He should be coming here. And David, you should join me too. I'm just going to finish talking about stupid filament here real quick. Again, this spun pretty good. And proof of concept, again, I added that same overhang, circular overhang underneath with the bridge test, with the gap. But it wasn't enough. But I finally had my final maker coin, almost final maker coin. It says 13 different tests on it. This even the right one? Yep, this is the right one. So this is 13 tests. 20 millimeter bridge, 65-degree angle, circular overhang, 0.2 millimeters. So there's very little rattle. It doesn't really want to spin a lot, but it does spin. It's got flat layers. It's got curves. Inside of here, let me see if I can show you that. Eventually it'll focus, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Inside there's a little tiny cone, and that cone is a retraction test. So all in all, it's a nice little test. I printed this on the Mark III. So this was printed on the Mark III. This one over here, that's got the green filament on it. And I'm using these as a, so I'm going to use my maker coin as my new test my filament print. So instead of printing a benchy and a bridge test and a temp test and an extrusion multiplier test, if this thing doesn't spin, my EM is too high. If this doesn't bridge well, I know how to fix it. If my retractions are horrible, this little thing will have a whole bunch of nasty bits in it. So I will post this week on Thingiverse, and I'll put a link in this description on this. And let me start adding people. So let me find a link here, and I'll start adding people. So let me copy this, and I'm going to send this to David. Let's see here. New message. Message the David Rudolph. Randolph Rudolph. Jeez Louise. And boom. And I'm going to send it to Shane. Even though he's probably really busy and doing work, I'm going to send this to Shane anyway. So boom. Sending it to Shane. Maybe he'll join me. If he has crickets, whatever. I don't care. Parts apart. I don't know which parts are my parts. So I actually use old filament boxes. So this one with all the CF material in it, that's my new Mark III. And notice that's in a 3DX Tech box. And then this Prusa Research box only has the pink parts for my Mark IIS that's going to be a Mark 2.5. And then I have green parts right there. Oh, Shane, you're not allowed to have vacations. You silly banana peels. Goodbye, Pete. Thank you for joining us, man. But yeah, I mean, I just keep a box on a shelf, and then as parts come off the printer, I'll just put them on the parts box. That reminds me, I need to start a print. Let me log on to Octopod, which is a free application, by the way. Go to Files, and we'll go to Printer Upgrades and Toxie 2.0, and I need to do the Z plate. I need a whole Z plate reprinted. There we go. And it is starting. So that's going to go. I'm not going to put any of the loud printers on. I am drying some polycarbonate in my print dry over there. Yeah, the filamentum shelf has gotten huge. It's a really big. I mean, it's not Tom Jackson huge because he's probably got like that's probably just his supply of red. And then over on this side is all 3D Solutech. But yeah, I'm trying to move all of my filament to being underneath the machines, and then my rep box is going to go above this printer, and then there's going to be another rep box going over here, which is a custom rep box, and I'll do another live build. So it won't take 5 hours. I guarantee I still kind of remember how to put the first one together. I think polyalchemy is amazing. I have polyalchemy. It's over there. I have 4 of them. Picked them up from Dave over at Printed Solid. It's awesome. It prints, I think, more consistently than the Chinese off-brand ones, the CC3D ones. The CC3D ones are just fine, but let's see here. Hi, is this about 3D printing? Right now we're talking about filaments because I have printed crazy amount of things in new filament I've never had before. Lots of new filaments I've never had before. So we chatted a lot about 3D printing today. And have I tried spool 3D filament? I have not. My goal in the last probably 3 months has been to find all the USA makers. So Atomic Filament, 3DX Tech Filament, Make Shaper. So just brands that are made in the USA, buy them, print them, and it you know, the luxury of being in Europe is they have such better filament brand, not better filament. They have a better amount of filament. So, I mean, again, Formatura, Filamentum, Spanner Heads, what's the other brand? Filamentive, something 3D, something. They have so many brands that make really cool filament. And if you look at the USA made filaments, it's like they all carry red, blue, green. So, I mean, if I go to Keene Village, they have the same 7 colors of PLA as 3DX Tech PLA, the same as, you know, Rigid Ink, not Rigid Ink, 3D Fuel, and etc. So it's usually the same stuff. Try Canada. Yeah, Color Fab in Europe. You know, it's just Shane, you should go work for Printed Solid. They give vacations, and you're close enough. So yeah, there's definitely a lack of creativity in the United States material market. Atomic has been pushing some new amazing filaments. So Atomic has, and I think I shared it. Do I have the print? I don't have the print. So people are asking me what that sparkly. Oh wait, I can just grab the roll. I don't know where the roll is. I don't know how I lost a roll. It's not on my chair. It's not on the bench over there. There it is. Hold on. Good night, everyone that's getting sleepy because of filament. So they made a filament that is very similar to, it's hard to see if it's sparkling. It looks like it's sparkling, but they made a lighter gray version of Vertigo Gray. So a light gray, it's like a medium gray versus a dark gray. Pure nylon. Um, my adventures in pure nylon are this. If you don't have an enclosure, don't print non-CF nylon. That's that's literally my recommendation to anyone who wants to print nylon. I have had nothing but failure with regular nylon. I've got Matter Hackers Pro nylon. The Ion nylon from 3DX Tech printed for me. On large prints will warp, on small prints it won't, but it smells so bad. Yeah, we're still talking about filament. Today is Filament Monday. You didn't know that? Yeah, it's not really black. It's like a light gray. It's hard to tell because it's so contrasty. Um, it's I wish I had the print. I posted it. I have pictures of it. I have not tried Talmud. David, I sent you a link to join the chat live. Use the link, man. You can join. You can ask me questions on there. Third Monday of October is Filament Monday. You know what? I should mark that down. You know, I think there already is a Filament Friday, so I don't want to take over. And it's more or less, I want to talk about the stuff I've been printing, which is just, I bought a bunch of crazy filament and I'm like, I'm printing it. I'm tired of printing cubes and benchies and stuff I don't want to print. And it's Halloween, so I printed all the Halloween things, minus the Groot. Groot's not Halloween, but I wanted to print wood. So I got printed this Hawaiian lucky cat. So if you want a lucky cat that's not Chinese lucky cat, you know, there's our Hawaiian lucky cat in wood. So it was mostly just me having fun, you know, and I put the MMU2 on and I was like, I'm going to print this Flexi Rexy in multicolors. You're technically still working. You're silly, David. I've got too much Groot. Here's another Groot. And yet another Groot. Ooh, what are your Black Friday specials, David? And another Groot. There should be a code, Chris something, and you save 1% off of your Prusa thing. Yeah, the only MMU Halloween ones I did were the skull and did I do anything else? I didn't. Yeah, an MMU. I was too busy printing a bunch of multicolor maker coins because I thought I liked my first design. So I printed a bunch of these in multicolor, and then I was like, I don't like these. They really don't torture test anything. They just spin. So basically I made really ugly fidget spinners. Oh, there we go. Pay an extra 1%. And that 1% goes to some kind of shelter. Yeah, this is also going to be my second Black Friday. What did I buy last year for Black Friday? I don't think I did anything. I don't think I got anything. Let's see. Groot is. Let's see. Like he was. Well, you don't have to say it publicly. This is a private chat, right, guys? None of you guys are going to tell anybody. We're all friends here. The brittle filament house for abused filament. So we'll send 1% to Mad Maker for a better drying system, so his filament's not so brittle. Apparently James doesn't like paying 1% more. I mean, it'd be kind of fun to do a pay % more charity thing. Do I recommend the MMU2? I recommend it to intermediate users. If you feel that you can blindfold yourself and build a Mark III, then I think you'll be fine. If you struggle with figuring out which way Live Z goes, I don't think the MMU2 is for you. That's just me. First Shane, you need to take the day off for Black Friday. Challenge accepted. Yeah, Yeah, Cards Against Humanity does some of the best holiday things for charity. But it'd be kind of funny for someone to do a pay more, use code whatever to pay more and raise money for something, for cookies, for stuff. I'm gonna turn the hands this way so the scary sides are facing you guys. Rah. Now they're all focusing on them. Body armor. Man, I don't do Friday. I don't do any of the holiday shopping. I worked retail. Let's see. I worked retail as my first job for 4 years. And I will never shop on a holiday. I don't care if I have no food in the fridge. I won't go to the grocery store on Easter. It's just not going to happen. So you're getting more votes, Dave, for paying more for a charity. So you heard it here now. There's like 7 of us that will pay more. I just don't do a ridiculous like 50% more, but round to the next dollar amount and it'll go towards filament for schools. I sit in my house every holiday. I sit in my house and edit because I'm always editing. I mean, I probably won't be editing. I will be editing this Christmas because the wedding I have is literally the weekend before Christmas. It's December 23rd. I think Christmas is in the middle of the week. Give you a charity. Man, now I'm making this harder. I got to find the charity for you. Man, I found the great, like, best thing marketing ever. Yeah, I don't even shop on Amazon on Black Friday or any holiday. I'm just like tired of it. But I normally would just sit home and watch a movie related to an edit. So, like right now is October, so every day I've watched. Well, except for the days I shoot weddings, I watch a horror movie because Halloween's my favorite holiday. It's true. Amazon does lie to you. It's never on sale because everything is always on sale, and sometimes it's not. I find things at Home Depot to be cheaper than on Amazon quite a bit, which is odd. I think it's tools. Tools in general are probably not super cheap. Board games are definitely cheaper at your local board game store. So always support your local board game store, or I guess your local game store, LGS. Hey, Shane came up with a good one. Look at that. This is why Shane should be on live with me right now. Who's an awesome dude? I'm not an awesome dude. I just have a beard and I eat Australian candy. All right. Somebody else had something cool to talk about. We talked about the mods. We will talk about. So for filament dryer, I unfortunately cheaped out. Well, not cheaped out. I paid more. I went with the hype train and just got a print dry. And it works. There's nothing wrong with the print dry, but it is a glorified food dehydrator that's been changed slightly to hold spools better. But excuse me while I'm chewing on that delicious Wiley Wallaby, not black licorice candy. The print competitions, that we'll talk about that too. And I'm pretty jealous of both, Chris. Yeah, I just recommend getting a good food dehydrator because it's the same thing. Just make sure it goes low enough and high enough. So a couple of things paused the print competition. I have a Halloween themed one. I'll launch it ASAP. There's still plenty of time in October for it because I just want the prints in by Halloween or right before Halloween for voting. What was I going to say? We got sidetracked because we want to do that giant Prusa wall. So all my time has been dedicated talking to Dominic at Prusa about getting that Prusa wall because we're trying to do a 3-meter wide Prusa wall. So I don't know if you've seen that STL, but we finally have all of it and he's chopping it up. And I think we're looking at some crazy amount. And if you're looking for another fun project, Alien 3D, the UFO box guy, man. He's doing a giant alien UFO, and I need to sign up and do that. I need to download one of the parts because I'll print one of that and I'll bring it to Murph because I'm going to Murph. Who's going to Murph? Murph 2019 hashtag. I think that's what the kids do, right? Hashtag. I've seen it on the internet before. Let's see here. What I printed. Yeah, like Tad says, yeah, you can just print things for your food. There's a Thingiverse one for your food dehydrator, and it has all the printed parts that you need for it. Shane, the wall is already cool enough. It's going to be big, and it's not. It's going to have the triangles, and I think we're doing them in hexagon shapes. It's all up to Dominic. He's doing all the special work, and we're going to do it huge. And I'm going to bring it to Murph, and I'm going to make Joseph sign it. So, and it's going to go on this wall. And yeah, actually, that's what we're doing. If you're part of the Prusa community Facebook group, we will have all the pieces set up for people to print, and everyone just needs to mail them to my buddy's store. And all that information will be coming out once we get there. But basically, before Murph 2019 hashtag, we want to have that giant Prusa wall put together and assembled and everything. Yeah, you're doing a 12-foot alien mascot. I'm doing a 3-meter wide wall. I don't even know how big 3 meters is. I think it's like 9 feet. And it's going to cover this whole thing. It's going to say Prusa Research back here. So I only have 2 Mark IIIs and 2 Mark IISs, which are going to be slowly converted into 2.5s. And that Creality right there. And they have other printers. They're just not, I've got a Photon over there. I've got a Monoprice. It's over there. Another Monoprice over there. Those are my first 2 printers. 9.84 feet. So it's going to be a nearly 10-foot wide. That's going to be giant. Why am I signing myself up for that? I love signing myself up for these things. But it should be cool. It's a big community project, and anyone can print whatever color they want. So it's going to be awesome. We should do that'd be so cool. So Shane is saying we should make a scavenger hunt for Murph, and I think that's amazing. I do have 1 Delta, and it's the Monoprice Mini Delta, which is a giant paperweight, and it scares literally everybody when it turns on. So I will not turn that thing on again. If anybody wants a Monoprice Mini Delta that doesn't work very often, I have one. I'll find me at Murph 2019 hashtag. Yeah, I need to get more printers. I do. I was talking to Joseph. I'm like, I need to order 2 more Mark IIIs. David, I'm going to have it mounted anyway. So one of my really good buddies, he owns a company called Mainframe, and it's MAINFRAIM Mainframe. And they do amazing framing jobs and everything, and they do stuff like this. So they're gonna set me up good, super solid. And I will be. So someone just mentioned to donate the old ones to schools. No school deserves a crappy printer, but I will be getting a local school printer this year, or maybe next year. So that's on my list of things. Murph is March. I hope to have all the pieces in by January. Yeah, and the Mark III is super reliable. It doesn't stop printing, but yeah, there's no haste. So once we get the pieces chopped up, that's the next step. And I'll probably have to hit up Mr. Alien 3D over there because he did a really cool website thing with Super Magico that had all the pieces, and you can download them, and when you download it, it disappears and all that magic stuff. So I need to talk to him. I need to use the force, the hive mind, to make this a much easier project. So there's a bunch of stuff going on. So that's what pushed back the print contest. I have everything ready. I have new rules. And again, if you don't know about the print contest, the Prusa Community Forum has a bi-monthly, every other month. I don't know what that's called. 6 times a year. Yes, you definitely need another printer. What did you get? What printer did you get, Mister? I'm getting a third one finally. Oh, that's a tough question. Is the Mark III a better buy than the Mark IIs? The Mark IIs is a workhorse. I like my Mark IIIs better, but it just depends. If you don't need the features on the Mark III, if you don't care about silent, if you don't care about the flex plate, the flex plate's just amazing. So, the print contest, I'll launch that ASAP, and it'll be ready, and it's gonna be Halloween themed in a fun way. So, it won't be like his 7th. I saw somebody started printing like a year ago, and now they have like their 10th Mark III, and I'm like, man, I only got 2, and my other one has literally only been doing multicolor prints. Yeah, the upgrade price. If you have a Mark IIs, the Mark III upgrade is not a deal. No, bi-monthly. So we'll say bi-monthly. But yeah, the print contest has been switched to bi-monthly. It'll come out. I'll finish that up tonight. I'll be a good boy. I'll do some work. The light speed. What's up, Steven? I have no issues with the Pi 3B Plus. I only hear issues for people who are using webcams with their Pi Zeros, because it's not powerful enough for webcam. All right. Good night, sir. I see more people leaving. Oh, 4 Prusas, 2 CR10s, a dozen of those small qualities. I don't know if that's a blessing or curse. That's a lot to maintain. I have a hard time maintaining all these because I'm always doing stupid things to them. A10M. Oh, the A10M is fun. Just remember, with the A10M, they disabled all of the safety features. So I think there is a Marlin hack available to re-enable they turned off thermal runaway. There's all disabled in the stock firmware. I don't know if they've updated that, but that was like a couple weeks ago, because I was thinking about picking up one, and someone was like, you might not want it. It's a hazard. So, but you have 2 ANET A8s, so you know how to fix that. So I have had maybe 3 or 4 times where the Pi 3B Plus stops in print. So what I do is I religiously once a week restart or reboot the entire Pi thing. Like every Monday, let's reboot all the Pis. That way I don't have any issues. Whoa, where'd my camera go? Oh, I went to no camera mode. No, now the camera's back. Let's see here. Oh, Filament, what's up, Tom? You want to join in on the live chat? I'll send you a link. We got Tom. Yeah, so David's correct too. You can get a Logitech camera that has the with the board on the actual camera itself does all the compression. I usually recommend the C270 because it's $20 and it's 720p, which is better than anything. I do not have any Pi Zeros because I heard that they weren't good for it's 5 a.m. I need to see that. I need to see what 5 a.m. Tom looks like. It's probably better than, what is it, 10:45 Chris p.m. I'll even change the color of the light behind me to Filament Frenzy Gold. Yes, once you throw the wide angle lens on that C270, it's the whole bed. You can see it all. It's a $20 camera. It's awesome. Plus, hey, I got a +1 for Tom at 5 a.m. and that comes from Shane. from Prusa. I need to look at repeater. 5A Tom looks like 2 p.m. Dave. I don't even know what 2 p.m. Dave looks like, but these references are going to be good. What am I typing on? That is a MacBook Pro, because it's down here in the basement. This is now my editing station. So this is going to be right here. This is going to be where I just film all my videos now. So everything, the little printers will be in the background. I'm going to put a cool wall up there. But I'm going to have a permanent printer here so I can always, the camera is not part of the computer. There's a Sony A7R2 right there, giving me 6K res to 4K res to 1080p crispiness with a 35 millimeter Zeiss lens. So yeah, the video is a little ridiculous. So I'm getting some really cool visual effects from that. Who's 2 p.m. Dave? Yeah, it does look kind of Star Trek-y, like from the new movies. Yeah, there are very few Macs in the printing world, but unfortunately, as a photographer and someone I'm just lazy. Macs just work. It's my excuse. Yeah, $3,000 camera. It helps. Yeah. Well, the Sony lenses, they have some Sony Zeiss, which they're good. But the rest of my lenses, this is actually the Sony's 35-1.4 Zeiss. My other lenses are all Zeiss, actual Zeiss. Yeah. I still want to see 5 a.m. Tom. That'd be cute. I don't think this Mac is worth. Well, actually, this is last year's model. But this is my walk around. I'm going everywhere MacBook Pro. I do need to put a permanent. I'm going to put a PC down here, or Windows PC, for permanent stuff like this. Yeah, it is my job and it's worth it, but hey, look at that. Dan's in here. Max work. He doesn't like them anymore because he overfilled his hard drive, and then he didn't listen to me and just dump all the stuff onto a separate hard drive. Oh man, best camera for the budget. If you're looking in a price range, this depends. I ask people, are they going to go serious with this? If they're going serious with this, I recommend more of the DSLR style. So something like even the Canon Rebel and the Nikon D35, whatever their 3000 series camera is, they're fantastic. There is no difference in quality between a super spendy camera and a low end camera. It's all in the lens. Don't listen to the hype. I mean, there will be differences in higher end ones. I mean, but for the general populace, you won't notice with a good lens and good editing between a $600 camera and a $3,000 camera. But if you're not ever going to go real serious, those little Fujis, I have a Fuji X-T20, and it's perfect. It's just a super compact, and you're more willing to bring it. I don't recommend DSLRs for people who are like, I need to bring it to this, I need to bring it to that. Grab the Fujis, man. They take amazing pictures. So small. I mean, that's my thing for people is if you're going to take it places, small is better because you're going to bring it. All right. I have a video on all of the MMU2 stuff. So Adam, look in my video history, and I have a video specifically on MMU2 stuff. And they did release a brand new firmware. Guys, when you do the firmware thing and it tells you how to set every channel, follow that to a T. As I was beta testing the MMU2, I beta tested that firmware. I messed it up multiple times. You have to follow the directions on the calibration. So it is load the filament into the through the tube, and it'll load it. So you go in the secret menu, you hit the center button, it loads the filament, and then left is up, and I think right is down. I can't remember. So you keep pressing down. Like if the filament hasn't reached the Bondtech, keep pressing down until it reaches the Bondtech halfway point. You're then going to press up, and then you're going to press down, and then you're going to press the center button to retract. You're going to press the center button again to load it, and you're going to confirm. If you adjust it again, you need to retract it and then load it again to confirm. And make sure your last press is always a downward press. Do not use the up button as your final press. When you push up, it removes the tension that's inside of the PTFE tube. There's still a little bit of room in that PTFE tube. So pushing up actually just removes slack. And it doesn't actually do anything, and it's going to mess up the calibration. So always end in a downward move. So down, always down, never up. Let's see here. Yeah, I know Tom had some issues, and that new firmware is awesome. That definitely helped out so many people. Let's see. It does sound like a cheat code, and it's literally the cheat code to way better MMU2 prints, because they couldn't get a manufacturer to make just perfectly in spec gears. There are always going to be a little bit of tolerance issues in the gears, and that changes, as you have 5 gears to load 5 different filaments. And I think that's why the initial ones wanted to be Bondtech gears, and they switched to the standard ones, which definitely brought the price down. So instead of having a $600 MMU2, we have a $300 MMU2. Some corners were definitely, moved in the gears, and the gears you just calibrate them. Take your time. Who follows instructions? As someone who beta tested the MMU2, I will tell you I did not follow the directions as often as I should, and it was frustrating. So now with anything, I've slowed down. Just MMU2, I literally turn on my patience pants. I just put on my patience pants, and I walk up to it, and I just slow. If I'll just spend 2 hours making sure everything's good, and then it's good, because I move it around a lot, and I've been playing with the Palette Plus, so I'm like moving stuff around too much. Let's see. Yeah, better filament definitely helps too. If you have cheap filament, it's not dry or whatever, it's just gonna string. Don't throw wood fill in there. Oh no, I didn't glue that in, because wood fill is just too stringy. Yeah, gears are crazy, man. Even Bondtech gears are way out of spec sometimes, but I had to go through that issue. I had one that was oval. It just no one makes things to spec, man. I will get a palette too. My experience, I'll have to do a Palette Plus video. There's definitely a learning curve for that, and I feel that the time that the Palette Plus has definitely matured Mosaic, and I feel that the Palette 2 is going to come out very stable in the beginning. I don't think they're going to have very many issues. The only thing I see them having issues, which is an issue that I'm having now, is the Chroma software is buggy as hell. It's not as odd as it sounds. I don't feel it's as intuitive. It may be just because I'm so used to Slicer, Prusa Edition, that I don't find printing with the palette to be as intuitive, because things are just buried where I don't think they should be. Like adjusting certain filament colors and lengths and this and that, and they're in places that just don't make sense. And then I haven't really messed with the Canvas software, which I think will solve a lot of issues, because if I slice something in Slicer and it has supports, the Chroma software just dies. It makes this gigantic purge block that's 3 times bigger than the bed. If I use Simplify 3D to slice it, it uses different colors constantly throughout the supports, instead of just picking the last color that was used on the layer to print the support. I haven't tried Cura. It's just missing that final little bit of polish, but it's a really good. I like my palette. I think it's phenomenal for I think the price is still too high for the Palette Plus. When they had it on sale for $650, I got mine for a steal. So I can't really complain about the price, but it is a lot of technology in that box. And the Palette Pro is looking to be just stunning out the gate. And patience pants. Yes, the patience pants. Tom asked a good question. If you could change one thing on the current MU2, the only thing I would change, and they're working on it, so it doesn't really matter that I want it changed or not. They need the filament sensor to be working coincide with the MMU2. That was something we couldn't get working during beta. The filament sensor is still a little bit buggy. I would say it's 90% accurate across the board, and that's because there's a lot of people having no luck with it. So if they could make those two talk, it would be an unstoppable force, because then it would know the filament's feeding versus guessing and hoping the filament's in the Bondtech and working. So let's see here. I have not done soluble supports, but literally every other beta tester has. I went rogue and just started testing other filaments versus other PLAs versus sitting down and learning all the other stuff, because I wasn't excited enough to stick with the plan during beta testing. So I just kind of like, I know you guys want us to test all these things. I haven't figured out everything on this. So I just kind of like sat in my little corner and continued to print PLA. Yeah, and Adam's right. The most of the fails are because it doesn't know that it's loaded. And once that filament sensor is working flawlessly, or, and there's ways to do that, the MMU2 will be an unstoppable, 90%, success rate for everybody machine, because the other mechanical issues don't matter. If it knows that the filament is in the Bondtech and it's feeding, that's all that matters, because, Mr. Tom Jackson, Filament Frenzy, are you using BVOH? Are you using PVA? Are you using PVOH? Are you using what's that other brand that makes the weird stuff? The Hydro whatever. I haven't mixed temps. It works. I've seen people do it all the time. And I haven't tried PTG. I literally still am hunkering in playing with PLA. I'm trying to figure out all the ramming sequences. I'm trying to learn what all the little tip features do. And that's the thing, is the MMU2 is extremely complicated. It's actually really easy. It makes sense. But all the settings that go around it are complicated, and there's no directions or rules to work with. So, oh yeah, I've heard mixed things on PVA, and PVA had mixed results as well with the palette. I know soluble supports on both are, weird. I mean, the only tip I have for people for BVOH or any of the soluble supports is cut the length you think you need and use that. Don't leave the whole spool out in the open. So yeah, David just mentioned that BVOH is sometimes doesn't dissolve well. Yeah. I'll have to look at what others have said. I know that in the beta test, the like 6 or 7 people who printed with solubles, it worked flawlessly. It melted just fine. Yeah, I saw those LCD face plates that you printed. Those things looked super sexy. Luis, there are more than sexy color. The Engine Lux stuff, holy cow. Hop on to printedsolid.com and check out the I think it's the Color Fab Engine Lux. That is some crazy material, and it's gorgeous, and it's ridiculously expensive. Looks like Filamentum's making some BVOH, because Tom is testing an unknown. It's got to be Filamentum. Yeah, so if you want a material that's like PETG, the Engine Lux is ridiculous. But yeah, PLA is definitely easier to get sexy filaments in. So, and it's cheaper for the most part. I mean, I don't want to spend is the Engine Lux is just beyond me for price, and so is BVOH. I mean, $80 for a spool. Does Engine print well? Yes, Engine prints well. It's a little bit more particular, I think, than PETG, but it prints great. Let's see. Yeah, how can he test if he doesn't know what it is? Sneaky. Yeah, that's another perk is PETG doesn't sand. I mean, it sands, but you'll have elbow pain for days. I tried sanding it, and it doesn't sand. Engine will sand. PLA will sand okay. ABS sands well. If you're a prop maker, you probably don't want to use PETG. Let's see. I think that's it. I think that's all I really wanted to chat about today was all the printing and Halloween, and hopefully everyone's printing a bunch of Halloween things because it's my favorite holiday. I have not tried E3D Spoolworks. I haven't tried any E3D filament. I don't even think there's anyone in the USA that sells it. There's so many weird filament brands I've never heard of. That Tom has. Tom has all the filament. You need to follow that Filament Frenzy guy around. He has all the crazy filament that you would want forever and ever that I can't get here because I'm American and we don't get all the cool stuff. Like I want some of that. What's that stuff that 3D Maker Noob is testing? The short. It's a rainbow filament, but instead of being long strands of color change, it's shorter stuff. Ooh. Yeah, I got a bunch of. It's actually right there. There's a stack of DOS filament, and I can't wait to print that. And I hear DOS filament PTEG is pretty good, but stringy. There's so many brands, and that's I'm surrounded by it now. If you want to hear about all the crazy, dude, I have so many filament samples to print still. Paramount. You can get that on Amazon News. I'll send you a link. Ouch. Yeah, Prusa SLA. December. We are a month and a half away. I'm guessing end of December. But I can't wait to see it just because I want the wash station, the wash and cure station. I think I'm currently curing all my resin in a nail curer, and all my prints, which are resin. I'm curing them there, and I have a tub. I have the basement, general basement tub down here for scraping things in isopropyl. I do need to get a giant jug of the monoprice resin away. I actually want to print once I get an SL1. I think the first thing I want to do is I'm going to pick up some high temp resin, and I want to print some fan shrouds in clear or in the Prusa orange resin. I am in Illinois, Chuck, the greatest state between Iowa and Indiana, Wisconsin, and whatever below us, Tennessee, and something else. So there's another state in between those states. It's not as good as us. We're also really good if you like high property taxes and poor schooling. Yeah, I'll send a bunch of people. The real Midwest, not the fake Midwest. Yeah, you know what's funny? Illinois isn't a lot of cornfields, at least not where I'm at. So it's better than Indiana in terms of cornfields, and it's way better than Iowa. Iowa's just all cornfield. That state's boring. You do have Jack Daniels. What was I gonna say? The Illinois is a lot of big cities and then a bunch of farm in the middle, and a lot of it's mostly pig and cow farm. We do have a lot of corn. Soybean is big. and not as much wheat. Wheat used to, I don't see that much anymore, but definitely a lot of soybean, a lot of corn, whole lot of cow and pig farms, and a lot of big cities. Just, Rockford is in the middle of nowhere. It's between nothing and farm, and it's 140,000 people. So move to Delaware. You guys have a printed solid, Dave. I don't have a micro center. I don't have, like, if I want to talk about 3D printing, I have to go online. There's not a community in well, I don't know about Chicago, but if there is one, it hasn't reached, the news of it hasn't reached the middle of Illinois. Delaware has printed solid. All right, this is gonna be my shortest long live stream, I think, but I think that's about it. I talked about all the cool prints for Halloween. There's still printing more. I'm gonna just continue printing Halloween stuff. I just need to rebuild that Mark IIs into a Mark 2.5. Blackhawk Farms Raceway. Yep, we do have that. We also have the Rockford Speedway and the Byron Dragway. Texas, you have Ted Cruz. This is true. Hey, Tom, glad to have you. We'll have to get you on here live. And if you go to Murph, man, I'm going to bring these cameras. Maybe I'll get a booth. Maybe I'll chip in with other not huge YouTubers and get a small booth, and I'll bring this camera stuff, and we'll shoot a video and have a Murph, like have special guests, like, oh, here, Joseph, come sit down with us and we'll chat about printing. Peoria is an interesting town. They have this is a beautiful town, but because there's an East and West Peoria, that's just weird. Crowdfund Tom's. There you go. That's what the 1%. Heck yeah! Tomorrow's the next podcast or next live stream, Tom. No, I will be live streaming tomorrow. I'll rebuild that Mark IIs into a Mark 2.5 tomorrow. But yeah, we should crowdfund 1% more on printed solid to crowdfund Tom's trip to Murph. That way he can hang out with all of us, and I'll bring all this camera equipment. And we'll get everyone together that's not over 2,000 subscribers on their YouTube channel. I'd buy that for $1 too. I heard if it please. Yeah, the Illinois is weird. There's just I love it though. This is my people's, and we say things weird in Illinois. And oh yeah, someone asked me about clicking. Yeah, Tom, if you get sponsored by Filamentum to come out here to Murph, they need to bring you a roll to give out to everybody. That's just a whole spool. You should make that event. It's the biggest one, man. And I'll be there. I know Shane will be there. Tom is Filament Frenzy, aka the Filament Whisperer, aka the sexy British guy who prints a lot really well. No kidding. But someone's asking about clicking. I'd never gotten clicking on my Mark IIs, but I have gotten clicking on the Mark III, and it's always way too much retraction for me. I just always, for some reason, I found it better to run it at 30 millimeters per second versus 35 on things that are printing hot, and it's fine. Everyone gets 5 centimeters. Yeah, streaming from Murph would be super cool. If there's a way to do it, I mean, I'll bring all this down here. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just a camera, and I have more than one mic, and I have a video person I can bring. You know, it's maybe from the hotel, you know. Just do it like a meetup afterwards, or find a bar that has good Wi-Fi, you know. But yeah, but isn't Murph the biggest? Shane, you better make Nerf. I'm going to work on RRF, Rockford Rep Ras Festival RRF. Let's see if the shooter question might be jamming, but you might also. Everyone gets 5 centimeters. Yeah, Goshen, Indiana. I'm an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Murph. So I missed it this last year, and Joseph was mad at me. And then I missed Detroit Maker Fair, and he was mad at me. So I can't miss Murph this year. So I've already signed up. Murph. So I will definitely see people there. And if we can do a live broadcast, I mean, Smurf is on Cartoon Network. They're little blue guys with hats from Goshen, Indiana. Yeah, I don't need the hotel. I'll just stay with everyone else. Wherever Tom stays, I'll stay in his room, and we'll podcast from there. But yeah, is there anything else? I think that was it, man. I've just finally cleaned up the basement again. There's no more TV here. The TV's off here, so it's not in the camera view. There'll be more printers printing in the background, not just one next time. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed. We're down to 36 viewers, so from our peak of 50 something. But yeah, thanks for joining in. Sorry it was mostly Halloween and material talk, but I just got really giddy during Halloween and decided I should print more versus not printing more. So stay tuned for hopefully tomorrow night. I'll hop on and do the Mark 2.5 rebuild. And David, you can always crash on my couch. It's an hour and a half away. So, it's not that bad. But yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I'll get the print contest going. I will put a horror movie on because I haven't watched one today, and I'm going to go back and I got to finish a wedding edit and an engagement session. So I actually have work to do. Yeah, I needed this too. I have not had a live stream in a while besides the rep box build, which I can't wait for my custom one. They sent me teaser photos. But yeah, I'll see everyone tomorrow. I'm going to head off. You guys go have a wonderful evening. Hopefully some of these filaments that we talked about today excite you and get you excited about printing cool things. And the creepy hands, they're creepy. I think they look kind of cool. So yeah, have a good one. Remember to wear safety goggles when you're trying to break materials in half to see how good they, how easily they break or not break. So good night. Stay out of trouble, everyone. We'll see you hopefully tomorrow for the 2.5 conversion rebuild. I'll clear off this desk, use a different lens, maybe a second cam. So good night. Stay out of trouble. I'm going to eat this candy and drink some root beer and watch some horror movies.